Today is May 21st. It is I, Jordan, here to talk again with my wife, Christina. Say hi, Christina.
Hi, Christina.
Anyway, today I ended up sleeping in until like noonish. Maybe it was earlier than that. Definitely slept in, trying to catch up. Whew. I just took a walk, which is good. And I'm working a bit on my diet. Being careful how much cheese I eat is the big thing. As well as the amount I eat. Hoping to lose at least some weight. I don't have my arm brace on right now because I just took it off. If I have it on for all the time, it starts hurting, causing me issues. So, anyway. Let's see. Did anything important happen today? Nope. We've mostly been playing games, trying to relax. I'm slowly improving mentally, which is good. And I have no idea how Christina's feeling mentally. She seemed pretty much in a lot of pain yesterday. And maybe she was a little grumpy yesterday, too. So, when I was thinking about what to do and talk about today, I had a dream last night. And last night, it was about being in a big city. See, I was born in a suburb of a big city, but we didn't live there very long before moving to a small town. And since then, I mostly lived in small towns. And for the most part, I think that I could not handle living in a big city. Now, for a while, I was thinking to myself, big cities have an issue with crime. They have issues with a lot of things in terms of personal stuff. I always got the feeling that when I was in big areas, something bad could happen to me and no one would care, even though people were there. And in my dream, I realized that it's a lot more about what you're used to. And that I shouldn't see it necessarily as a negative thing. Which led to one of the things that I've had thought about for a very long time. In Genesis, it says, "It is not good for man to be alone." And in fact, studies show that when a person is in isolation, it is not good for them mentally. Even with a small group of people being isolated, it doesn't necessarily lead to a good thing. Isolation doesn't seem to be good for us as human beings. But on the other hand, you have things like the Tower of Babel, in which a whole group of people came together and it was seen as a bad thing as they built a tower to the sky. So I asked myself, what is the difference between good civilization and bad civilization? I originally thought it had to do with the numbers. And I think there's some truth in terms of the difficulty when you deal with larger numbers of people. But eventually, I originally came to the conclusion that it had to do with self-value. When we no longer are individuals in a group of people, we become part of a mob mentality. And in a mob mentality, you don't value your individuality. In that mob mentality, you're willing to do things you normally wouldn't. And you're willing to let other people get away with doing things they normally wouldn't. There's something that spurs them on. And then I realized that's kind of like a military without a general. It's a group of people without a leader, all going in a direction. Pure chaos. So, and we see this also in a way when it comes to work and your work, right? You're all going towards the same goal. You're all working towards it. The difference between a mob and a working environment is that the mob has no direction. They're all moving, but there's no one in control. And when you get somebody in control, it's the same as having an army, right? So how is that different from the body of Christ, the embodiment of the community of Christians? And how do we avoid going into the bad area? Well, I thought about it, and I realized something. There's a difference between a work community and a family community. When you go to a family reunion and you have your sibling and your sibling getting into an argument, right? You can disown them. You can hate them. You can never want to be around them again. But in a working environment, when somebody gets you angry, upset, you kind of just have to deal with it. And worst case scenario, the company will step in. But the point I'm trying to say is that I had it opposite. The problem isn't environments and situations where we give up our individuality. It's situations where we no longer value other people's individuality. It's not that we don't value whether or not we value other people's opinions of us, because that's an extension of our selfishness and our individuality. The problem is when we stop valuing other people's individuality. This is the key. This is the difference. The difference between a positive society and a negative society. It is whether we value other people's individualities. It's an extension of the concept of putting ourselves in other people's shoes. So, there you go. Have you thought about other people's individuality? What does that even mean? These are all questions you, yes, you, can have the answer to. It is up to you to make these decisions in these terms. Will you be the one to change? Will you make a difference in other people's lives? Find out in your own life. I can't dance as much when I'm in a chair, so I have to do a little dance.